Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing this evening? Getting ready to start my weekend. So glad that today is Friday. Well, I'm doing this late video late, so it's actually Saturday. It's an early Saturday morning. Um, I don't know if you guys heard about. I guess last Sunday they had the Miss America pageant. I didn't get a chance to catch it. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Um, but apparently, I just felt like I needed to address this because I was really kind of upset about what she said, what the lady that won Miss America. I don't know. I know it was a black young lady. I don't know what her name was. Um, I have to Google it. I'm not sure what her name is because I didn't watch it. Sometimes I don't watch those things. I didn't even know it was on anyway. But it was a lot of controversy because of what she said. They asked her, how, sometimes they ask them questions and everything. Um, and they asked her, did she think that healthcare was a right or a privilege? And she said that she thought that healthcare was a privilege. Something about people should work for healthcare or whatever. Like I said, I might have to look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's on YouTube because I didn't get the opportunity to watch it. But they were talking about it Monday, the following Monday, whatever. They were talking about what she had said, and it was kind of a lot of controversy. And she's kind of under fire for making that statement. Well, when I heard it, healthcare is kind of a sensitive subject for me. I think it's a sensitive subject for a lot of people that are low income. And the first thing that when I first heard that that's what she said, the first thing I thought was, what the heck's the matter with her? How could she say something like that? It's like I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, what's wrong with her? Why would she even make a statement like that? Um, and I was reading in some of the blogs, and some of the comments that people were making in some of the blogs, and they were saying, um, there was some interesting responses in some of the blogs. Some people agreed with her. I don't get into a lot of politics, but the liberals or whatever, conservatives or whatever they call them, some of those people were agreeing with her. But I just thought that that was a very insensitive comment that she made. I totally disagree with her. I feel that healthcare is a right. It's not a privilege. When you say that, this is the problem that I'm having with that statement. When you suggest that healthcare is a privilege, what you're basically saying is that healthcare is a luxury. You're basically you're putting it like let's say to have internet is a privilege. You don't have the right to have internet in your home. If you work hard or whatever and you pay for it, then you have the privilege of having it in your home. I'm just using that as a parable. Or if you have the opportunity um, to take a vacation, that is not a right. You don't have the right to take a vacation, and it's a privilege to be able to have the money to afford to be blessed with the money to be able to afford to take a nice trip. It's a privilege because you work hard and you earned your money. If you earn it legally and honestly, you earned it through hard work. Then you earn the right, you earn the privilege, you earn the right to take a vacation. So I'm just using that as a parable. Um, but when the issue, the problem that I'm having with this statement is that she's somehow suggesting she's putting healthcare in the same category as material things. Having the privilege of driving a nice car, having the privilege of having cable, or having a privilege of having certain material things, or having a privilege to take a vacation. You know, things that you don't necessarily need, but you want. You know, not necessarily needs, but wants. Um, you that you that's your privilege to have those things. It's not a right. It's a privilege because not everybody can drive a nice car. Not everybody can live in a certain type of house, or not everybody can have some luxuries, whatever. Um, so outside the basic necessities, outside the basics that we all need to survive, is luxuries outside the basics. And that's your privilege to have those things. It is not a right. So it seems like she's putting healthcare in the same category as a luxury. She's putting healthcare in the same category as having a privilege of taking a trip or something like that, a luxury, something not something that you don't necessarily need but you want. And it's I get when I hear that, I feel like she's putting it in the same category as something that is your privilege to have, um, and it's a luxury or something like that. It seems like to me that she's somehow suggesting that, and healthcare is not a luxury. Healthcare is not a luxury item. It is a necessity. We all need to have healthcare, and even if you're healthy, even if you're a healthy person and you have no pre-existing health conditions, and you're a pretty healthy person, you still need health care. Because if in the event something happens to you, you might have to go to the dentist and get a tooth pulled. But if you don't have health care, how can you go to the dentist and get your tooth pulled? Because going to the dentist and getting your tooth pulled requires money. You have to have money to have that done. Or you might want to go get a checkup. You might want to get some annual checkups done. Preventative care, as they call preventative care, you might need to get those things done. Well, you got to have money to go get those things done. They don't do them for free. Like us women have to have pap smears. You have to have your physicals and things like that to check your heart and everything like that to make sure everything is working okay on you. You know, um, you know, check your blood, to make sure you don't have no diabetes and um, different things like that. It costs money. It's not free. You even to get your basic preventative care checkups is cost money and it's not free. So even if you're a healthy person, even if you're relatively healthy, you still need health care. You still need a certain amount of health care. Go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned. That's preventative. Getting your teeth cleaned is preventative. It's keeping your teeth from further decay, whereas you might need further dental work on down the line. So that's preventative. Getting your teeth clean is preventative. I mean, my teeth is bad anyway, so it doesn't make a difference either way or the other. But those are preventative care things that we all need to do to maintain our good health. I remember at one time, because here in Michigan they used to have this thing where people knock Obamacare, but I thank God for Obamacare, because if it wasn't for Obamacare, what happened was a lot of people complain about Obamacare, and maybe it did hurt the middle class. But when Obamacare came into effect, it opened the door for a lot of long, short term. It opened the door for a lot of low income people to get Medicaid. That It opened the door for a lot of low income people that wasn't qualified for Medicaid before to be able to get it. And what happened was, see, before Obamacare, they would give Medicaid to my kids, but they wouldn't give it to me. Go figure. That doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, that's the way the system was set up. They would give it to my kids, but they wouldn't give it to me. So I had to do the best I could, or they'd put me on some type of spin down crap, which still equates to no health insurance, you know. So when Obamacare took effect, it opened the door for a lot of low income people like me that didn't qualify for Medicaid to be able to qualify for Medicaid. So I'm very grateful for Obamacare because I was able to get on Medicaid, which before I couldn't get on it. And a lot of low income people, if your income was under a certain amount, you didn't have to go into the what they call that, the health, the marketplace. You didn't have to go into the marketplace and sign up for the Obamacare thing. You know, I actually attempted to sign up for it several times, and then they finally told me, well, your income is low enough to qualify for Medicaid. You don't have to get this. And so I was very grateful for that, that I was able to do that. And so it opened the door. So I remember at one time I went 7 whole years without any health insurance. Thank God in that 7 year time, I was relatively healthy, for exception of my thyroid condition, but my thyroid condition wasn't acting up at that time. Thank God I was relatively healthy during that time and I didn't need any of, but I still wasn't doing my preventative care, you know. So that's what the problem that I'm having with that statement, that when she say it's a privilege, a lot of people were making the point in the blogs, and I agree. What about children? Children are statistically the poorest people in this country. Children are not old enough to work, and the parents may not be able to afford to pay for insurance for them and their children. And 9 times out of 10, they can't do it. So what about the children? Children need health care. What about the elderly? You take elderly people that have worked so hard throughout their life, and now they're old and they're not able to work anymore and they need health care. What about them? What about your disabled people? Your disabled people that are not able to work and they need health care. What about those people? So what is she going to say? Get on out there and do the best you can to work, so you can get health care? So I just think it's a very cold-hearted statement. It's a very cold-hearted statement. And I just, it's, to me, I feel like healthcare is a right. It's a natural human right for everyone. Everyone has the right to have affordable health care. I don't care what color you are, what I don't care who you are. Okay, everybody should have access to affordable health care. If you're a human being walking this earth, you should have access to affordable health care. No matter how old you are, no matter what race you are, don't make no difference. If you're a human being walking the earth, you should have access to health care, to affordable health care. And that is a right. It is not a privilege. Because when you say it's a privilege, you're somehow suggesting that it's a luxury. That is some type of a luxury, like a person being able to afford to go out and buy a Cadillac versus a Ford or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is not a privilege. It's your privilege to drive a Cadillac if you got the money to buy one. But you don't have the right to have one, you know. So that's to say that it's a privilege is somehow suggesting that it's some type of a luxury item. That healthcare is a luxury item. Only the rich people, or only the people, like, they're somehow suggesting that only people that make good money, people in a certain income bracket, should be able to have health insurance. If you're in a certain income bracket and you're making a certain amount of money, then you should have health insurance. And what she doesn't, I thought that the comment that she made was very ignorant, because what she doesn't realize is that there are a lot of people that are working full time and still cannot afford health insurance. I work full time, and my employer does offer health insurance, but I don't. Guess what? I don't make enough money to pay for it. I just cannot afford to pay for it. So, um, a lot of that's, and this is not the first job where I was faced with that dilemma. So there are a lot of people, for the record, Miss America, there is a lot of people that are working full time, but guess what? They're still poor, and they cannot afford health care. So, um, for you to say people should be working, well, there is a lot of people working full time and they still can't afford it. There is a such thing as working poor. You're still working full time and you're still poor. Or some people work 2 and 3 jobs. Sometimes I've had to work 2 jobs, still, uh, and still wasn't eating. Okay. So, and still didn't have health insurance. There's millions and millions of people in this country that are faced with that dilemma. So I'm very passionate about that. I just think that's a cold-hearted thing to say. That only only it's a privilege, because when you're saying that, you're suggesting only people that make good money and only people that's in a certain income bracket should have access to health care. Everybody, it is a basic human right. It is a basic human right for everyone to have health insurance, affordable health insurance, according to their income. And if America does not want to offer that, you know, if America is not down for that, then what type of values does that suggest? What type of values does that suggest for this country? That's supposed to be the richest country in the world, which I think that might be another video. I don't agree with that. It may be the richest country in the world, but it's not the best. But you got some place like Canada. Canada offers its citizens free health insurance. You got some other countries that offer their citizens free health insurance. So some of these other countries are beating the United States on that. And I'm sure that they would agree that health insurance is a right and it's not a privilege. So I just thought Miss America was dead wrong. Maybe she never had the struggle. Maybe she don't know what it's like to be poor. Maybe she's never had the struggle. I don't know what her past was like. I don't know what her situation was. But when I first found out she said that, I was kind of outraged. I totally disagree. Okay, well, let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this. Let me know. Um, Kind of passionate about that subject because there was many years that I had to go without health insurance. Let me know what you think. This is Sweet Jim.